Building a geothermal is pretty easy. I don't know anything about gardening, but I have been gardening going on 5 years now in the high desert of Arizona. It's been 20 degrees every night for a week now, and I figured I'd show you guys. This is how my geothermal looks, even when I haven't been running the geothermal fan. In fact, I'm just now connecting a battery to the solar panels on the roof of the geothermal so I can power the bubbler for my aquaponic system and the fan for the geothermal greenhouse. When I first moved off grid, I wasn't even sure I could grow out here whatsoever. And one of the first things I started to work on was digging out this geothermal. I did the first half with the $4 shovel and hired a guy to help me with the second half. So there's squash and parsley, some wildflowers, plenty of onions, tomatoes, lettuce. Looks like there's peppers coming up. Lots of tomatoes, Swiss chard, all these things. And it's been 20 degrees outside all week. This might not look like much, but I'm going to attach a PC fan to the end of this right now. And this tube runs to the corner and then it goes into the ground. It's about 3 feet deep, and that 200 linear feet of hose runs back and forth throughout the geothermal so it can maintain about 50 degrees. And what that does is when the fan's running, it keeps it about 15 to 20 degrees warmer in here or cooler in here, depending on the time of the year. Of course, it's already about 15 degrees warmer in here just because we're in here. As you can see, my other greenhouse, everything is pretty well dead in it. But down here, everything's just fine. I've got Malleus out there running the solar power into the geothermal. And I'm just going to connect it now. So I've got the positive connected. I'm going to connect these 3 negative cables, and they're connected to this spare Zendeer battery. I had a Zendeer Super Base Pro 4600 system that took a dump, and they said they were going to replace it, but they never did. So I finally just threw it in the trash, and I'm just using the satellite battery in here. I have 6 webinars that are going to be about 8 hours total in length. If you want to get all of the webinars, you can save 33% off. Plus, you can take 15% off on top of that. That's a Frugal Off Grid. Code Frugal Off Grid will give you another 15%. So that's almost 50% off if you buy all 6 webinars at once. And otherwise, you can get all of the other webinars as they come up. The first one has already been recorded, so you can get the recording for $10 less than it was to be in the live webinar. And the rest of them you can pick and choose if you'd rather. And so there's 5 more webinars coming up every Saturday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So the bubbler is running, and now I've got a line that runs over here, and I just need to connect this fan. Just last week, this whole swell was full of stuff, and it's just too cold, so it's died. And anything that's not a real fall crop has pretty well died off in here as well. So you can see I had some nice tomatoes growing, but they're not doing so good anymore. There are still a lot of onions are doing okay, and other things, but you know, a lot has died off in here. Alfalfa does fine. Tomatoes, not so much. Look at all these tomatoes that just died. So you can grow fall crop all year in a normal greenhouse like that. But a geothermal like this guy, this is where the money's at. You can grow and harvest quite a bit in here all year long. And it just kind of goes to show you that building a geothermal is pretty easy.